So we're going after this?
Yeah, basically.
I won't be at the sessions afternoon. They get recorded, don't they? The
Yeah,
tutorial, so
yeah.
I'll be able to hear it on.
No worries.
Sorry, I've got an appointment at Centre.
It's okay. All right. Yeah. No money.
Well, I don't get any anyway, but.
Yeah. All right.
Because you get the students, I've got that.
You can have that.
All right, so maybe
Yeah, and then there's a few other things. Right. It's selfish to myself. I'll date you up. Yeah, have you got a few of those?
what's that? You told me, you told me. That's what I want to know. It's a very interesting question.
Oh, it just appears.
Just a kid on this.
Nobody likes you. Specialist teachers, 6-year anniversary today.
Really?
Today, so.
How did you know that? Because you told me.
Oh,
I wonder if he's telling you.
I read that door that said
Who are we talking about, right?
Huh?
Right.
Yeah, what's happening with
Yeah, she's just like giving up, I think. Deep depression, yeah. She's still very efficient. Anyway, put her on the list.
You're on this
All right. Praise to Manjushri. Just a second, stop recording. All right.
Obeisance to my Guru, protector, mentor, all these hard scriptures, text symbolic and receiving all things as they are. This understanding shines forth as the sun, and clouded by his arms or traces of ignorance. He teaches in 60 ways the created love of the Father for his Son and his Son. All creatures are opportunities and are used in the darkness of their ignorance, overwhelmed by their suffering. You who straight upon the proclamation of the Dharma, who asks us from the stupor of our delusions and frees us from the iron chains of our karma, whose powerful sword of wisdom gives our suffering relatives rights of fear. Very regular darkness of ignorance. I entreat you, Lord, I entreat you, this priestly body is adorned with 112 marks of a Buddha, who has completed the 10 stages achieving the highest perfection of a Bodhisattva, who has been pure from the beginning, of man, true, true, all loving one, with the brilliance of your illuminate the darkness enclosing my mind, enlighten my intelligence and wisdom, so that I may gain insight into the Buddha's words and the texts that explain them. Sachi Purti Shochi Me Trahame Ravi
Sangye Chagan Soje Chonamba Chancho Pade Dani Tatsuchi Tagi Chinye Gite Sonampi Kawa Sangye Druparasho Sangye Chagan Soje Chonamba Chancho Pade Dani Tatsuchi Tagi Chinye Gite Sonampi Kawa Sangye Druparasho Sangye Chagan Sofi Chonamba Shanshu Pati Tani Kapsichi Tagi Chushin Gipe Sonamki Tola Sangye Prabhara Kangi Tudzini Zone Tawa Tamje Pambiche Pambichun Dunze Kodum Jela Chante Pandit Zaya Lama Lumbuch Tagi Implementation against Good morning, everyone. So, today, mix it into the Geruchi and Gantambati Komazon. Tata Koi Mochik Chagianza Chik Senoya Chialang Roski Dosra
Yalan
Yalang Sena Kasmeti Munit.
Today is the 6th anniversary for the passing away of Geshe's teacher, his precious teacher. So, his state of mind is a bit down today.
Yeah.
Sorry?
What did you say?
The state of mind, his mood is a bit down today.
Of course, yeah.
And I think you offering incense on the road.
Oh.
Very, very good smell. Right? Yes. Yeah. Teni Nigi Tangan Sutamalo and Churo Sunza and Gerumbuchi Tagaski Giging Minsam Kedavatindi, then a Nandochik. The Sawin Mares, one Tanigi Sanji Tembalaya, Chijing. Thousand and Jangolam Temba soon be any soper any Zintungi and give Tamba and the Shandamanda Yorisra 이 남들 소치 아니 고 잠지기 아니 탈비 사비 켜버진지 교래 샤우여보다 아 야치자 담바리 스틴징이 티지 도르디 잠지기로다 데리 그래서 켜버진지 손자 믹스기 니 메세나노야 오늘 장이기 까지 samay devi any cutting chingi lamas chagon ni dortu jishu na kiran so chik tsu chola reshan do da ani odinji gondo khaw maros ra.
And since we all Dhamma friends with each other, Geshe thought of saying a few words about his teacher, his root teacher, that was like the life bearer of, the main bearer of the life of the teachings, not only of the Buddha, the Bhagavan, but also of the teaching of the precious Lord, Lama Tsongkhapa. So Geshe thought of sharing with us some bits from the life story of his teacher. Things that just by doing that, we place some seeds for attaining the state of liberation. His teacher was immensely kind to him.
제다 nga gyanum chi shagaya tu chin ta lamang chi rin la ya ta su su la ya phigi ge ani chi nam che ta zum ju ge ta mandang wa gi ani ke ma bu shu ji yor ma to ani ge ge mu ne ma chi la sha nam ta re se wa nam ta re ti kyen ding ge pe ani tu go shi da tu su to la ya mo ne ta ne ki ka wa sam bu shu cho yor es ta yin ya ngara nam ju ma ta di
Due to a lacking intelligence and also not being diligent enough, Geshe said that he wasn't able to progress to a great degree, but it doesn't take away from the qualities of his teacher that treated him with a great sense of love and great sense of concern. Although that was always there, Geshe says that not being able to progress a lot is due to not being smart enough and not being diligent enough.
Any gay kun someone of lamares. Inaya the game kwan moon pet, nga and then I'm used to that per lomba tat in Tansanki. And in drop way lomba, damn Mazanchi, and Tachi Pugu Piggy, Paktu Naji, Mambu Hedi, Tindiji Kile, Kesha, Tamusha, Tindiji layer, Tindiji Zewata, Tuzi Nanchini. Any Mich song in the chorus, rock chorus, things again. That given several times to me, the Gadi and Soyag bed, so Mutuet in the chick, chatting on this chick getting until she was right.
So, Geshe's teacher was also the teacher of many great beings of this day and age. The current abbot of Nangan Monastery, the ex-abbot of Gyuta Monastery, Kushu Jatu Rinpoche, also the holder of the teachings for the students in the West, Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche. He was a teacher of all of them. So for Geshe, not being as great as those lamas that we've just mentioned, just coming from a really simple background, being born first of all in Tibet to a nomadic family that had many children. Geshe said that it's like, little piglets running around, right? So being able to then make his way to India and having met his teacher and being taken care of by his teacher to the point in which he managed to make something out of his life, considering the background that he comes from. He cannot even start to repay the kindness of his teacher. So he thought of sharing a few bits from the life story of his teacher with us.
대저 개념을지 지금 지금 그게 미스터지 아니 꾸탐샤스 꾸탐보 땅운디 지다 아메기 아니 저거 나마야 여기 카트야 아니 개인기 아말라티 지 단행기 니 저거는 보고디 소놈 친구지 인사레스 따지 아무거나 정모sol이야 정모 편sol라 라고여서 간이스나 보고디 차와지니 지는 얘기배 자슈 돈이 중이지 자배 돈도 얘기지 차선스 더 별이야 자슈 가오여니지 소놈 친구 쓰고리스 코피라 가오여니지 저를 소놈 매겨를 쓰고리스
Ninja. Mashiva King. So Geshe's teacher was born in 1921, and while his mom was still pregnant with him, she was sharing some conversations with her friends, and she said that the child that will be born to her would be of great merit. The reason for that is that she had great craving for tea while she was pregnant, and in Tibet, they have different sets of beliefs. So rather than believing that coffee would bestow great merit, it's rather that if you have, if you like drinking tea, if you crave tea, it is an indication of being of great merit.
These are that adults in the game, trying you modelia, game on, cause again, I mean, non trying modelia, and it piggy, Choba Hagora, Choba Kawaji, Dodoji, Kiersa, and
Choba.
no Juicy.
Oh.
Dodoji, Kiri, big 20 years a month. Under the concept that you got that, you just shooting cells, Lavji. Dodo the kitchen in Goja water the shadow. Tambo, Goja with the shasa. The little concept someone done, the catchilla, catch the boot handler, and Puya Kianda. Then the Trotum said, Trotum Jin, king it in the young order. Trotum Sin and the Poo Desaki Kuma Sonda, Shaki, but the legend, Dodo Chin Kido, Puchilo, Toy Images.
Okay.
Reda, just gather the conscious. But then she get any chill use, but that thing it was just inside something. And chill you, Yanja do the catch you, and put and gay. And I can't.
All right. So this is something new. I don't know if I've ever heard about something like that, but Geshe said that when his teacher was born, it was still covered maybe in the, how do you call the birth sac? Yeah, placenta or membrane. Does it happen that children are born still covered with that stuff? All right, I've never heard of it. So apparently Geshe's teacher was born like that, which is considered to be quite an unfortunate indicative sign. So rather than retrieving him straight away from that membrane, would you say? Membrane, or let's call it a membrane. It was just kind of being put outside, outside of the door. And then after a while, they thought maybe we should check inside. So they checked inside and got the baby. Someone is just gonna, maybe it's just occurred to someone to check if there is a baby inside.
Yeah, the Chidangi, that's Pigita, my Nalaya, that's Chima Shuyora, Kanji Dinji, Nag, Chimi Makuya, Nikiotamba Tinji Troyak, any Yosares, but Tinji Kanji, and Yamsenchin, Yamsenchin, Troyores.
Sometimes you hear about the stains of the mother's womb, right? Being tainted or being affected by the stains of one's mother's womb. Anyway, it is said that the great beings of the past were not tainted by that. The whole event concerning the birth of Geshe's teacher was quite incredible.
Tini ta geya gona samasumya tini gen gi kuzulaya mathen shu nyonda puchinjo yondi ta kangal mathen drama de any gen pego the sal tsuchen droya tabshi chewarsa chunjunga ditichleya tanda gengi shigundi lama tanda jabaru sing songinja jabaru cheleya nang shu jabaru chamukyen tini pugdi lu kojego dos kolo chama sebo yochi any mean jeje tuzchen put tarsa tache ani tanda gengi shigun punzol nesesa zangi punzol ngombaki ani tara nakta singitleya ani in tawal chun gen golo nga kaptuleya ani gombanal yeshaba.
When he was 5 years old, his whole body got covered with sores. Maybe it was something like smallpox or something like that. Or he got sick with a lot of sores and wounds on his body to the point where he couldn't even walk. The only thing that he could do was to lay his forehead on the ground. So a Lama was consulted. That Lama became his teacher. That Lama's name is Cheba Rinpoche, who recommended to change all of his clothing to yellow clothing, but also to change his name. Subsequently, he entered into a monastery of Taranatha in central Tibet. That was when he was 5 years old. Yeah, the name of the monastery that he entered is Puntsoglim.
Tini da dini gengi namlin densho kortozo lola sim tini ta chi tan durala sobat chabit tindi siji dijile ya ta golo peshi tinga ta share golo changa chuduk jimento samsam doji dijile ya ni ge ni uila ya thasala pebdos thasala ped ta chang phunzo lin thasala ye yong ta tudi moda yomara ani chi peshi dawa yame and combajan roguda rodi tini yab gengi yab tambati ta kena dos tasal pena kena ani tende and yabu yungures tembala chawchi to yabu yondo kawri ne ngad tuji maras gen and power the tindi sonyo yesu the gen tasal pe tasal chawzi tu chiti ani yab to gomba zolda yab gomba zolda.
So he entered a monastery called Puntsoglim at the age of 5. Then he started to do his memorization, committed quite a lot of text to his memory, started to take up the study of philosophy, collected topics and so forth. Geshe doesn't know at which particular age he started to do that. But anyway, when he reached the age of 15 or 16, his teacher recommended that he would depart from his monastery, Puntsoglim, and make his way to the great monastic seats at the center of Tibet. He said that looking at his level of education, he cannot provide him with a great level of education. It would be better off if he would to travel to central Tibet, enter one of the great monasteries and continue his studies there. This is at least how it was, the story was told by his father. So it was about, keeping in mind that at that point in time in Tibet, there weren't roads, cars, and so forth. It was about a month walking from Geshe's teacher's monastery to the great monastic seat in the central of Tibet.
Ani shigyung kita ani gen thasali chabi yabu yoba ani tus chik ani tingi yabu gyon ni shigyung ya ani dendeshi chin chabi tingi gegen le dendeshi da gishi mathyon ko ani gegen le dendeshi yanja ya punzol le phed ani gen losum sajila ya ani punzol gombal ya chabi tik ani zang chin da saja jachim bol dele ya ani gombo mambu ganda mambu da ani do samo nungala ya pasu chik ani thakor singi kanji tamja tindi pebje kanji zangkula ya takji ani zambalo sang usra di pete ani shoji thachinji chares. That dini losum some yanga that Tasalia Besha Samat Signaza, teacher the yanga Tasal Mapep and a Pendus.
So he entered Sera Monastery in central Tibet. Then he studied till the age of 25 and became quite good. He was known to be a good student. He was a good debater. His understanding of philosophy was quite good. And then he received a request when he was around 25 years old to return to his home base, to his monastery, to Phuntsokling, and to give some teachings, to teach philosophy at that monastery. So the area that he comes from in Tibet is called Tsang. That's like, let's say, central south. So there are many monasteries in that area. So not only he taught scriptures in his home base, Phuntsokling, but also he did rounds within small monasteries around that area. Participated in debate sessions. He was overseeing debate sessions. He did that for a few years, and then he made his way back to Sera Monastery to continue with his studies.
Teni the gengi the chichawe samang sisam kap tindijleya yanja da ani jabarumuchi lama ani zonzerumuchi singi yansi chunjunti ya chimucha kabla ni yanja geya ani ya phebu loserumuchi leya yonzengo to shichiru kanji ani chitong ko geshi shushi ngabchung aran tindijin sare tangi tada labtuma ngabchung aran tindijleya ani gen yanja ya shikone phe ani zonzerumuchi so yonzenma ani gombe no le ta chabitye tu chin shuchin ngabchung agubat ani gen punzole le to shures.
So then he remained at Sera and completed his studies at Sera Monastery. Then at some point he got a request from his teacher, Jepa Rinpoche, to return to his home base, to Phuntsokling, to serve as the tutor for a reincarnation of a Lama that is called Zonzi Rinpoche. So he returned to Phuntsokling, where he took up the role of tutoring, being the tutor for that young reincarnation. And that was around the 1950s, and he remained there till 1959.
Dan ngabchung agulo le ya tni kyami tni phesa tsensong chechini ani chi komba ta tonra thu yamech torchum chi chawa da tsuma chila ta chi kanji ani din me wa seche ani gyawrum chi ubi tni chi phebam bum chi masum suji ani gyagasa to le ya chudo ko khabtula tni ta di khabtu de le ya tni chi gyami and contrant di penalonzu ani chi pheba misame ani khachi ani gyami da langje cheche ani lama ge vishinile khata ani gombator kosuntu de tor dan jamada cheres da di khabdu de ya ani gengi dan namji gen khorang ki pe ani shala nya de gidu tindiji ki ani gen le ya ani kyen chukchin gyami pomba da khatun kyen chun ani gen ngabchung agone truchure ge part lo gu ring la ya ani gyami chonga na shuki kyores.
So then, after the Tibetan uprising in 1959, where his owners fled into exile, about 6,000 monasteries were destroyed in Tibet. Scores of monks and nuns were unable to remain monastics. Many of them were killed. Many of them ended up in labor camps and so forth. More than 100,000 of people over the years have followed His Holiness the Dalai Lama into exile. And in Tibet, things have gone from bad to worse. So many people were sent to prisons, concentration camps, labor camps, and so forth. People were encouraged to turn on each other. So, for example, students were encouraged to turn against the lamas, the spiritual teachers. They were encouraged, people, especially the youth, were encouraged to take part in the destruction of monasteries and the holy objects, those representations of body, speech, and mind. So one of Geshe's teachers, one of his students, let's call his teacher Khenso Lobsangla, he turned against him. He accused him of something, and subsequently his teacher ended up in prison. He was incarcerated for 9 years, from 1959 to 1968.
Jami Kundang singing the Duri Duzes Chiwara, Duri Duzes Chechin, you become to the Yata, some someone no Kangash, Olaya, Sugar, Nashi, again, Tara Sugar Waras, in a game pig, and it chick, Jamba Tachi, and it traveled your Zuma, your Mija Pubu, your Jamada, Tikila, Mijanashi, Chin Drogo, the Drogo Katulaya, and she gained to the ya, to some shadi, and it choppy Kotjanja. To some she years, and gang on Musum dos. Tanan Sanlaya again, the Simbi Capdulaya, and the trouble Tomba Tonja Indi, and it need Yabu Quasedi, Pecumbureshas, Nimaku Capdulaya, and it Chabu Tolia, sometimes 2 years. Gang Pema Sonyo years, Dindi Injeta, gain and a mission the Mandavi, Chapi Chaya di Kadu Kandaj Chenia. Chabi Gondon Telaya and took Zao in the young Mewanza and it covered the powers Chagos was child.
So conditions were very difficult, very bad during the time in those concentration camps, those prisons. Particularly, it was during the time where China and Tibet were undergoing mass starvation. So food was quite scarce in prison, and also whatever you got was very dirty. So there was a long period of basically being starved. That was the bad treatment of communist China. So in prison, in those camps, you had monks and nuns and also the laity, all of them kept together. And of course, you couldn't really externally or overtly live as a monk. You had to live just like anyone else. So for a long period, as they were experiencing starvation, often you would go to bed being completely starved, completely hungry. And it's really difficult to fall asleep when you're so hungry. This is how his teacher used to recount that story. Geshe had it a few times. So since he was such an exceptional student and he had good knowledge of scriptures, when he was kept awake at night, experiencing that pain of starvation, so I just used to think again and again of the things that I've studied, of scriptures, rather than stepping away from the scriptural system. What kept him going during those nights of hunger was just going over what I've studied and thinking about it again and again.
Ngema genle nani tsu de ge tu ti khora ya changga no lo ya an chu chin ni gen nyam de changga no le de ta ku shi ni gen za le yong chin kon da ni norshas ani tus la wo sa ni da gen ta kyan chi cha gres ta kyan ki ni mi de tse la ma shu shu ke yo ma de kyan an changga pi chen bi ji shi karen de ki ya wo chin de nga le de mi se ke chin pendos ke yo ma res gen de ni son is na de song dos ra.
3 years after his arrest and being sent to this prison, his student, the one that squealed on him, that gave him to the Chinese authority, ended up in the same prison. So he ended up in the same prison, and he came to see him, and he apologized for telling those stories about his teacher that ended up in him being incarcerated. So his teacher said that, no, it's too late. No, it's already in prison. it's too late for an apology. There's not much to discuss now. They just have to do the time.
Tirdadini ta gain chigdong gubja tujuri gulaya ani jang kanani lebares gamik ta dini ta namda dingarangi meseta test chi jargor ta ngarangara sangors gain chigdong gubja tujuri gulaya ani jangan le khadla tini ta ngaranda ta ame ini koban keris rota tizu takta rojile gen zongan lebata ani ngaji tizu kejo rochi chigdong go tuju rego.
So then Geshe's teacher was released from prison, right? So 1968, 1969, which was around the time that Geshe was conceived in his mother's womb, right? So Geshe kind of thinks of his teacher's life and he tries to place himself in that big span of events in his teacher's life. So he was released from prison, and that was around the time that Geshe was conceived.
Ani shoki jilaya shoki te ani namase indi jilaya gain shusagi khamba di go gamaya ani ke shu ting slapping ke chimbu shuchi ani ke sumji gyapche tichi digta pasho ajad khonzu yang chaman ni to gain ani se ani chlo ma pendi ani gain ga ajad ngel ten sa shu ani kharar se di chachimbu shuji digani persons gogan on dindis chonsons di gengi ta gengi tusum shide ta ting sede zangge la ya zambe ke la ya ting slana gyu sede la ya gyu sede la ya kogores tichi di gengi ta tende ani yidam tam ting nam church ton tanga ta ani ta gyu sede that one ngal pensions teni game chigong ju tujure golaya ani chodo kinchini ani tanda jagala pigin tan denjong gini ani jagala ya chodo pevares.
So he was released from prison and he stayed for a few months with his sister. Actually, there was a small hut next to his sister's house where he stayed there for a few months, and one day early morning he heard a loud noise on top of the house. Outside of the house, his sister family was already up, they've already departed, left home. It was early morning, and it was a calling of a bird. It was very loud, and the bird was ding. The bird calling was something like ding, which in the language of Tsamba, where Geshe's teacher comes from, it also means go. So he took that bird calling as an indication of an instruction that he has to leave. He thought that this is a manifestation or emanation of Hayagriva, which is giving him an indication that he should leave. So he did listen to that indication and made his way from Tibet to India. He went to India through Sikkim. There are many dialects in Tibetan language. There are probably hundreds, if not more than that, many dialects. So Geshe's teacher, Tsamba Losangla, had a very thick Tsang dialect. So instead of the word for go, when you instruct someone to go, you say gyuk, but in Tsang language it was ding, right? So he used to say kind of quite often, when he wanted to tell someone that this is time to go, or they should go somewhere, he used to say ding 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 ding. But that dudes in the game kandola pevi kabulaya, and kandola tibi denjon jabu, and semodi, and moran kaso tachi. Koyangin desa is a peshi. Tindigi, Kambach, Tombach,
any galia, can Kazu Shugin, Dele Shushos, Candin and Samuelachi, Manzu Candolia, can go to again to shooting again that in a doubt need some shooter again tell shoot that and that you met someone that Gisla Slam Tabache and Shella that the Tolan baby little shuji none of those Joe shootos in a yataji and the Jongan on the Yavi Kadley again 2 million Nayadi near Sanji Tembale and it's Chavachi Yona and not Zongan the Tarva shows. That manner, not any simply didn't the Torah shows slabshin and again Kaduna to me Mononkyungu use. In the dark, Dimji Saja Ramanjili Leni, and Suzu Kamdu de Rochin, Kiwich do some, and it's Sanji Pembalaya, Malcolm Devaina, any Manam Jasha Gituzo, Sanji Chansalaya, Okoshu, or the Chaman Jigmara, Conchin, and Garabojolaya, and the Densaka Yosadelaya. Gain superiors that they gain permit and Takanji gain the Chabi teaching, the Chabi gain the dancing so shooters, right?
So he made his way to India, and he went to India through Sikkim in India. The king of Sikkim at the time was living at Gangtok, the capital of Sikkim, and his family hosted Geshe's teacher in their house for a couple of months. They gave him a room that was very comfortable, food, and he remained. They said that he could remain there for as long as he wanted. They treated him with a lot of affection. But 2 months, having stayed there for 2 months, he thought to himself that though he's very happy, he was very happy staying in the place. Still, when he was incarcerated in Tibet during those years in Tibet, he made those prayers, aspirations, where he was thinking that should he be released from prison, he would act in a way that would be beneficial, that would offer service to the Buddha's teachings. Whereas if he wouldn't be able to act in a way that would give benefit to the teaching, service to the teaching, then there would be no use of remaining with his bodily support. So he was released from prison. He made his way from Tibet to India, and having stayed in Gangtok for 2 months, he thought to himself that he had made those promises before in his aspirations. Should he be released from prison, he will act in a way that will be of service to the Dharma. So staying there in a really comfortable situation in Gangtok would not really accord with the promise that he made, and that would be tantamount to deceiving Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So he then decided to leave Gangtok, travel to South India, enjoy Sera Monastery, where he became one of the main teachers. He was famous for his erudition and was one of the main teachers in Sera Monastery.
Terdini that chick don't go get Chabden Loya and Jaurum Chigi. Any Geruchilia, Sergi, Kembo Chadamaris, Chidongo, Chabdella, Chadamani, and Loserki, Kiavki, and Manon Kalaya, and Jauruchi, Indulia, and Kembo Sabati, Jauruchi, Jegashe, Luxujores, Jaurumji, Jegashe, Johnny, and Napi, any Peninsula, Serra, Chidongo, then they began, and Kembo Sanji Pesha. In Kanji gain Kembo Kiwata and Najaga Levati, Tizutata Castles.
So he remained at Sera Monastery. And in 1987, he was appointed to be the abbot of Sera Monastery. Now, the tradition goes that you're appointed to the abbot, then there's the Tibetan New Year. And after the Tibetan New Year, the abbot of such a great monastery has an audience with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. That was also around the time that Geshe made his way from Tibet to India, right? So thinking of kind of Geshe's life and also in relation to the life of his teacher. So again, Geshe was born in 1969 when his teacher was released from prison, and he made his way from Tibet to India when his teacher became the abbot and sought an audience with His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
그래서 드니 지동고 이게 겹되는 진다 아니 니동 주시 바도 된다 저당다 갱게 아니 지 템비 차와 체디 뜻디바라야 캠볼로 로 든단 다와시사치 서지 캠본나요레 서지 캠본나요 링이야 캠보신다 만자와기 아니 자선이와라야 지 아니 로게 용당디 tadi ani chi serji chawegi kab thudiyu gi ta chi an thalonye wa su semla ya ani sewu chin yode wa chi chayo res ra tangi del shuden ta chan sira koma ndi chayo res tadi ani kembu kyuni ani yidam dojin chi shiki nyenchen la ya ani losum da dawasum shagosum grin la ya shures.
So he became an abbot in 1987, and he passed away in 2014. So as Geshe arrived at Sera Monastery in 1987, he had all that time to spend with his teacher. Now, his teacher was the abbot of Sera Monastery for 7 years and 4 months, and many have commented that this time was particularly special at Sera Monastery, that there was this time in which there was quite a lot of progress. People suddenly started to advance the mind, to improve the mind in a way that was quite significant, quite evident in comparison with other times. So he clearly has left a great mark on the development of Seraje Monastery. Also during the time, he did an approximation retreat over 3 years, 3 months and 3 days of the meditational deity Yamantaka Vajraparava.
Teresa ani tachitong nitong chosom kilolaya ani gyawarumchi seral pebi kabdula tadi ke ani kasoda simjina shudev matabi gempetu yo mares tadi ani geyilaya gyawarumchi sonju saraya tendeshi ani sonju chobata ani sonjurawe gyalotelaya gyawarumchi ani parsing kamaya shusaga poranchin junjores tinamaya gerumchi jigashudi edi gyawarumchi genaya karsusu shiwana and da ani kuzi tarshimbares kiran kuzi tarshimbares tinza ani dai saryam ani kira ani chik zangbajile kindo kawres and kiran zangju chongbu chin shodani ngani tuyunsi gyawrumji genaya katen nangsons tichidi ta gengomba zon lotu royal tanda pardu gengiansi peyo marni gyawrumji kagon chizong chewani tende genrumji yansi tumeji pewa yimbadi and gyawrumji kagos nayores.
In 2013, His Holiness the Dalai Lama gave teachings at Sera Monastery, and during the time, Geshe's teacher was already bedridden, so he couldn't really come to the public teaching that His Holiness was giving. But he was taken one day during the break behind the stage to see His Holiness, and he made his way with His Holiness to His Holiness's residence. And he had a conversation with His Holiness in which His Holiness said that he sensed that Geshe's teacher has reached the end of his life. And he says that they should meet again, they will meet again. He will be born again in that area, Tsang, will be a kind of a small and smart boy from Tsang, and they shall meet again. So he passed away in 2014, so 6 years have passed and the reincarnation hasn't been identified or found yet, but as His Holiness expressed these words, Geshe is sure that it will come to pass at some point.
안 여론지 이 손주라고 하는 펩사샤다 게임 펩이 게임 테스트 진리도 돼 여론지 펩사샤스 응아주기 은수 덴디쇼니 여론지 야트시 소지 여론지 순조 뇌들이야 게임 퀄리티 텔샤지 텔슈 주송스라 아니 게임 텔슈다 다 로봇 상도 스파 파쇼반도 게임나 도스나 뭐 대셔 송스라 나 다라 게임 til 딘지 나리아 아니 투지스 또
Geshe's teacher was quite affectionate with Geshe. He was really caring for him to a great degree. So when he saw His Holiness during that event, the last time that he saw His Holiness, he had to be wheeled in, right? So he was sitting on a wheelchair. And in order to bring Geshe's teacher to that venue, there were a few people that had to help, to wheel him in. He had a few attendants and so forth. So it was His Holiness told him to come closer to approach. He told him where to be waiting for His Holiness, to have a conversation with His Holiness. And during that time, all the staff members of Council Lobsangla kind of retreated, waited for the conversation to finish. But his teacher was holding Geshe's hand and said, stay, just sit down, stay with us. So Geshe was also there to listen to the conversation between his Holiness and Dalai Lama and his teacher. Geshe said that his teacher was just like that, with great kindness, with great affection to Geshe.
디자다 갱기 남주 갱기 소냐래야 아니 참sam이야 지 템바다 드로래야 펜비기 아니 간사지래야 겐도 카오리스 모나미는 갸기스 갱 딘디송거리스 갱기 참sam이야 지다 텐상로지노 지 짱초래야 라올로니 지야다 지 로종 지야 고급디 니만한 신기 딘지 매와인자 텐상 따지 변화가 야슈도디 지 아니 도메초마 요 야가연자 갱이 다 딘지질람 아니 케바이나 야부도스 캔지 하잔 미잔지 아니 지 벤주진에 케바이나 벤주를 양고코친 로종 치툭 마로스 아니 미잔 슈교지를 케바는 야지 벤주 강강 체치니야 로종 낭투 마로스 미잔 딘지질이야 겐 야부도스 갱이 툭 펜바도디 안 딘지지 야바데 나라야 살마무 송유였으라
Geshe's teacher used to say that in his next life, he wishes to be born again as a human being, to be someone that can be of benefit to the Buddha's teaching, but also to living beings, to migrators. That is the type of birth that he wanted to take. And he said that when you look at the current situation in Tibet, in terms of being able to study the Buddha Dhamma and become a scholar, the opportunity available now at Tsang are quite poor. There are not good study places, good institutions available now at Tsang, whereas there are good places to study in Amdo. So he thought that in his next life, it'd be better off if he were to be born in that area of Tibet, Eastern Tibet. Not to a family that is too rich, because sometimes when you are born to a family that is too rich, your lifestyle is so concerned with possessions and so forth that it becomes a great hindrance for studying. Also, if you're born into poverty, also it makes it quite difficult to end up in a good situation for study. So instead of, rather than being born into a family of one of those two extremes, being too rich or being too poor, if it just be simple class, middling family, that would be ideal for a study situation.
데리는 갑콜이야 나는 갑 망부질이야 긴 디소뉴스 타마들이야 직구지 타미 갑도 지레야 아니지 딱 세마야 부여쟁이 아니 직진은 딱 세마야 버티지 용도카워레스 계지 딱 참아요 같은지 아니 투바이나 아니 소소 다보게 버렸어 소소 다보게 버렸어 아니 디마도 지 챙아기 지 세가도 지 제대디 나가우슈 메스 니게가 두 손손스 대가 손손스 라
the
양세
Yangtze. He said that a few times. He told that message to Geshe a few times, and then towards the end of his life, he also told Geshe that after he passes away, should a reincarnation will be sought, then rather than looking all over the place, they should wait for good indications, substantial indications.
데리데자다 딱게니 돈 주실라야 공부 저버리스 돈 주실라 공부 저버 갑들이야 아니 게임 공부 저니 아니 다 되는 소소도에나 롬바데레 용야기 and thank you 아니 게임 공사 십주시고 마상 공래야 아니 간데 용야기 지 초chen 아니 뒤에 튼돈 지금 나와라야 초chen 짬마 탑선스라 디 아니 손줄라 꽝벌이야레스 아니 그게 밴로 조치 가지 아니 돈다 숨 도지라 어디지 지금 나와라야 아니 오스트레일리아는 쉬는 스위트저랜드 나티 아니 갱 아니 공사 시고 님들이야 짬마 강전 나와라야 아니 가디 사운드 비자주 아니 단지 갱 게투 아니 게시 참아던 좀 아니 기메타선 기타 저니실라저 또 삼냥들 먼저 사운드 비자주 공사 타마들이야 되디 단지 갱기 라브란스는 디토니 아니 샤덴칭이 참아도려야 그게 쇼자다 아니 제다리 또 나선스 디 나라가라 이 템지 카르츠가 있으나 디난게 아니 참아도려야 제다 이 단다 야가까는 분의 템이 가다까워져라 참아도려 대대셔라 이 디티어 네 나피 난 고래요 말 탈래요 나 끼래요 니 가다디 먼저 변의 템비게 가다되네 가다까버린 무지도 어디 케서 딘디지 케서라 이게 트렌드 and again 샵시드니 겨우생이죠 겨울에 계란갈이야 챙아근갈이야 카다믹스 마라스 이나가 카다디 케서스 라이바 나랑 겜지스기 있으나 게랑 나서 섬섬나 디스기 이 코로나 쉬인디
So Geshe's teacher was bedridden, and it was already decided that Geshe will come here to Australia, to Chimrezek Institute. So the process has already started, and then his teacher died before the process has been completed. So yesterday, as Geshe said, was the anniversary, the 6th year anniversary for the passing. No, sorry, today was the 6th. Yeah, today, sorry. Today is the 6 years anniversary for the passing away of Geshe's teacher. And it was also that was the time, also the day that I arrived in India to help Geshe with the final stages of the visa process, the visa application process. So Geshe's idea was to still remain in India for 49 days for the whole, for this whole time and the prayers to be concluded. And it was quite auspicious that the visa process has gone through in a seamless and very quick way. Within the span of about 3 weeks, the visa process was completed. Geshe got his visa. We had to go to a few places in Bangalore and other places to do stuff, visa stuff. But anyway, during that time, different people from Gen Lobsang Khenso Lobsang Labrang came together for reciting the root tantra of Guya Samaja during the 49 days, the period of the 49 days since passing away. So at the end of this recitation, at the end of the 49th day, offerings and katas were distributed to the people that took part in that long prayer sessions that was conducted over quite a few days. And the katas that were distributed were white katas. The source for those katas was Kalimpong in India. Now, Geshe was not sitting at the beginning of the line. It was not sitting at the end of the line. It was somewhere in the middle. So katas were distributed, and then the one that landed off in Geshe's lap was a kata that was not made in Kalimpong, but it was made in Tibet. That was the only one that was actually made in Tibet. It was a long, white, nice kata that was made in Tibet. And Geshe thought that this is also kind of something like, or maybe a good sign, a good indication. And he related it later on to the person that was in charge of all these administrative things. So he said that, no, this is really a good indication that his teacher is giving him a kata from Tibet.
The ngaran dem tsi din ta nga de yo ya cha ya tham ba pi ya chojin ko la ba lo jer sa ani chi ta ngindu ta ngaran pi ya chi karsa ta ta chu di yo sa ta kanji ngi di ja yo sa do sa di ja ma ta ba ya la yo ya ani ni karsa ma ta ba ye ya ya la yo ya ani din chi ani sa ja de la yo ya 공부도 too much redo samsung 나란티 스탄 델용 공부 좀 가진 이슈가 많지 같이 돈다 따바 맞으면 따바는 야다는 거야 아니 뭐야 gen제대 우리 용도 같이 등에 가서 같이 직된 주기 민고고에 봐야 깨점이 뭐에 수 깨지시기에서 인자 딘디게 아니 가서 같이 가도 있네요. 나라야 스바다 아니지 아니 틀리게 되봐 아니 남아 딘디지 시작이야 다 간증이 몇에 넘어야 아니 땡기 중어디 아니 나 직방주 지금은 오늘 타니기 아니 까와자타 몽골이야 아니 사샤비 아니 소문게 제베임바디 아니 니게 가두이나 샘나무의 지금에서 소르위스라.
Anyway, in looking at the convergence of these two lives, Geshe's life and his teacher's life, it seems that they came together in those key points and worked together in great synergy. Geshe's teacher's birth in Tibet, Geshe's birth in Tibet, him leaving prison, him making his way to India, Geshe making his way to India, and so forth. There were those different points in time that their life converged, and everything went in a seamless way, leading up at the end to Geshe's departure from India and arriving here to Chinrezig Institute, receiving, you could say that all of this is indicative that Geshe got the permit to come here to Australia to take up the position of the teacher here. So Geshe says that, and when he tells that, he says that he's telling that in a way that he sees that without being influenced by the eight-worthy concerns. This is genuinely the way that it happened. And when Geshe thinks about it, thinking of someone from his background, being born into a family, a poor family, and so forth, and having been able to meet his teacher and spend all that time with him is an indication of having accumulated a lot of merit over hundreds of eons in the past that culminated in the opportunities that he got in this life. So this is something that he will never forget.
Negi kan tubadi narane nigo kan yobadi negi sanji tembi chedu ni tangres ro ni chodem di shanya dia narane ya gyabdeng tsujo chechi naraya nar tensa zo chedu ni kadam chodem ni namala ya geng uta changzang cheda chaksen changzang shi sonju ga pyujin shanyis ni ngande di dandan lo chugri ya negi taji chuchok thoni pension drosung ji in taji any mean the Mishamba Tony Chicken won't get your cigarette model. Naran Gaguni, ni pinchi, and a niggy long January special $10. Mamba in a need chigmaris, Naran Kanshimbadi, ni Losum Sodan Rusilia, Jan Shagi, Tony Himalaya, Pandochia, and Sanji Tembalaya, count to what the Chen Newton and Jordan, the same much cheese.
So it has been 6 years since Geshe came here. Actually, the anniversary would be, it's almost 6 years. 6 years will have elapsed in August 22, right? That's the anniversary, August 22nd. So during, So during the 6 years that Geshe has been with us, he says that he was carrying out his responsibilities with the most genuine approach that he could have generated. So up until now, he was trying to do all the different things that he has to do with a sincere and genuine approach. And for however long he will stay here at Chimrazek Institute, he will do whatever he needs to do to his best ability, still with a most genuine attitude in offering service to the Buddha's teaching. So in order then to make sure that he's reminded that this is what he intends to do, he also constructed this stupa that is standing on Geshe's right side. It contains some relics of Geshe's teachers, his hair and so forth. So they're inside the stupa, and Geshe said that he decided to put it here next to him just to bear witness to his approach and the commitment that he has to still continue to offer service to the teaching without being subject to other ulterior motives. So in the time that Geshe has been here, he hasn't fundraised for projects, for himself or for other people. Whatever he tries to do is try to do it with the most genuine approach. So this is how he also plans to continue to work in the future. Forever. Dila Shuro Jesa. Yeah. Geshe doesn't have control over those issues.
Government fashion, super corona wrong base.
I mean, let alone not being kind of Geshe's, it's not up to Geshe's wish. It's like even with respect to his body, he doesn't have any control, whether the body will still stay alive, whether the body will die. This is not within his control.
Thank you so much for sharing with us the story today. That's very moving. And please, Geshe, it's important that if you need to leave to find your teacher, you must do that. It's really important that this lineage is maintained. And I think you have a responsibility there too.
Dila, okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. You listen.
Anyway, we also need to make sure that we cover something today. So
Rejoicing.
That's what Jacob said. Jacob cousin Sunday, Jacob said said that come he charpati, Jacob never said. Nugikawa, Pani said, Dan said, come cures. Kanji da Manjugi, Chanchug Sam, the Chanchug Sam, that Ninji, Chanchug Sam, and Surgeon Tamji, the Sanji combo Joalaya, Rangulunga Yisundi, and Simjalia, Tama to Pardo, and Chanchug, the Yoyamulas, that the Kanji car don't do it, and Shank car don't do car is tango chonia, and tang tuya, Lojong Chedu, and the Samata Lojong Yana Songo is right.
So I'm picking up from the next verse. Remember that we're looking at the third chapter in Shandeva's guide. So the chapter is, first of all, dealing with the preparation for taking up the mind of enlightenment. We have looked at rejoicing in virtue, requesting to turn the wheel, requesting not to pass into nirvana, and now we're looking at dedicating virtue. We looked at the first two sections in the dedication of virtue, and today we're going to pick up from verse 9 that comes under the heading of dedicating in order to alleviate hunger and thirst. So we're dedicated in a way that accords with the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta, which is aroused in order to lead all sentient beings and set them in the state of Buddhahood. And until that is accomplished, then one will not cast aside the goal, the purpose. In whatever way one can be of benefit to others in a way that accords with the wishes of others, then one is seeking to be of benefit to others. So here we're looking at dedicating for the sake of alleviating hunger and thirst.
데리다 제베나올라야 조금 전나올라 세단 공기 차가게 사도 파소비 제바다 공비 네반타다 센니와 가와 발모스미 미기가와 발미스 단 심진 대다게 세단 공기 균 조금 쉬워 제니와 규지.
Looking at this verse, with the rain of food and drink, may I clear the suffering of hunger and thirst. During the intermediate eon of famine, may I become food and drink. May I be able to clear away all harm of hunger and thirst with the rain of various foods and drink for all those that are hungry and thirsty. At the time of the intermediate eon of famine, out of the 3 intermediate eons, may I be able to pacify the hunger and thirst of sentient beings by myself becoming food and drink for them. All right, so we'll leave it here for now. We're working around the clock to complete the Nalanda Master's Garden. It seems that there's a truck waiting outside and Geshe needs to command them with his long whip, the whip of compassion. So I'll put the prayers here on the...
Nalaya Yanguchilaya, Ding, Zodi, and in Dong, Chula Yaurumuchi, Dunga or Chekalaman, Dembukujaris, Hamad Gang and the Kerang attention, Nyasho songs in the King of the Nonsense. Any Sanendelia, Dendish, Maranyam, Dendish is, Dending Indigage, the gang to make Yamju, Denny, Negi, any. Sanji Tembalaya, this Chavachi to Yavada, Mulungiagi Yusra, in Kanza, the Dejingalia, Ropachirochis.
In 2006, His Holiness gave the Kala Chakra empowerment in India. And during the procession, there were a few objects, holy objects that were offered to His Holiness. And at the end of the Kala Chakra, he gave back one of the statue, Buddha statue, to Geshe's teacher. Now, Geshe's teacher in turn gave it to Geshe and said that this is a really precious statue, important statue coming, of course, offered by from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So he should keep it as a basis, as a support for the development of faith. And Geshe brought this statue with him here to Australia. So this statue is also here with us at Chamrezik Institute. And this is also something that Geshe is using in generating and working on his commitment to still continue to genuinely and sincerely offer service to the Buddha's teachings. Shape Sinte Badu Tengu Shi Janshin Jangun Tenzi Yopawe Kunzo Topo Shosum Kowe Le Monju Mata Sotu Kondu Shaten Shu.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Geshe.
Geshe.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Sheila.
See you tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, next week.
Thank you.
This afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Candy.
Bye, Tanya.
Thank you.
Hi. Hi, Graham. Hi, Terry.
Hi, how are you? Hope you're good.
Yes.
Hey, Jason.
San Francisco now, eh?
Bye bye.
Ready in 5 minutes. Maybe 7.